We're still here at the Midwest Mission Distribution Center, and now we're talking with Edie Schultz. And Edie, thank you so much for coming along today and being here at the Midwest Mission Distribution Center. And you're part of the group CampCare a Lot, not so much affiliated with CampCare a Lot anymore, but you've brought some individuals here. But first let's start. What is CampCare a Lot?
CampCare a Lot is a week-long residential camp for children who are 6 to 10 years old and who come from low to no income backgrounds. And it's for 1 week. We just had our 20th year celebration, which is very exciting. And there were 6 of us who founded the camp 20 years ago.
Okay. Now, what do they exactly get out of CampCare a Lot? We know who it's for, but what are they getting out of CampCare a Lot?
One of the things that has been done at camp for many years is the idea of being a kid at hope, where they learn to set goals, reach those goals, and take baby steps to figuring out how they're going to get to reach those goals. The camp is all about learning citizenship, learning leadership, learning to be good people in the community, involvement. It also is traditional summer camp activities, swimming, boating. You were there once and saw the kids taking part. One of the most important things that we do is we work with the kids on 5 basic principles: respect, responsibility, kindness, trust, and attitude. And we do that all through learning how to be good listeners, because of course they're young children when they come to camp. They can come to camp one time in their life, and when they're 16, they were promised that if they weren't doing any drugs, if they weren't smoking and drinking, and if they were passing all of their school subjects, that they could come back into a program. When I stepped down from being the executive director after 18 years, I started this group for those former campers 16 years and older.
So these are the alumni.
These are the alumni.
And what type of experiences have you heard come out of your alumni so far? I know you mentioned here a little while ago about some extraordinary achievements that's been made by some of these kids.
Right, we were chatting informally. Many of these kids, who aren't really kids anymore, but many of them have gone on to college. We do have a camp scholarship, which we started about 6 years ago. One of the volunteer board members brought that up and said, well, we're promising them we're going to help them forever. And so we started a scholarship. So we have many of them on scholarship. We have many of them that have recently gotten jobs. They're staying in school. They are actively involved in other community activities besides our leadership program. We've had some of them go on missions themselves. We are a non-affiliated, we are not a religious organization, but whatever they do with their groups, many of them have done some wonderful, wonderful, outstanding service. We actually, about 3 years ago, we had 2 of our youth, our former campers, win a citizenship award through the Good as Gold, the JCs and UIF. So we've done some wonderful things.
It says a lot about the camp, and I think the people behind the camp as well.
It does, it does. And it says a lot about the guts and the determination of the youth who go to the camp, and the fact that they stay involved. We talked about being 16. Well, I hadn't seen one young man, the first and oldest child, year 1 in 1993, called me when he turned 16 and said, do you know who I am, on the telephone? And I wasn't 100% sure, but he let me know who it was. And he said, you promised I could come back. And for 4 years, he was a junior counselor, an assistant counselor. And then he resurfaced several years later and invited me to his wedding. So
is that right?
I keep in contact with many of these kids over the years, and some of the other counselors keep in contact with others. We have served, in my years, 1,650 kids, and another 100 since I'm gone. And so it's been pretty remarkable.
It's beautiful. So following them, watching them grow and mature and become responsible citizens, what are we doing today? I mean, this is just another facet, along their journey.
Right. It really is. In November of 2010, I sent out 35 invitations to some of the former campers. I knew where they were, and I thought maybe they would be interested. Out of 35, 25 showed up at our first event, and I said, look, this is a group called Leaders. You can choose to start it. You can choose to be actively involved in it. You may or may not want to, and they all came back. We sat down for 4 hours that day talking about what their memories of camp were and also what they wanted to see. So in the 3 years, and this is the last event of this first 3 years, in the 3 years we have had an average of 18 to 35 young people. Today, just after Labor Day, I guess it wasn't a great day to plan on
some
Saturday.
of the things, I mean, you had some of your volunteers then got jobs.
They got
They're
jobs.
back in school.
And they're in school, and
And-
that's really wonderful.
What more could you ask?
Right,
Of
right.
course, this is a very useful program, but to mature and develop as an individual, that's what it's all about.
That's right. That's right. They came back to make that connection. The young people that we have here today, I'm hoping will start a whole new group because the other group aged out this summer.
Right.
Some of the things that we've done, which is really the core of this leaders group, what we've done is we have had speakers talking about how to interview for jobs, how to fill out a college or a job application. We talked about hazing, we talked about bullying, we talk about the kinds of bumps that they might find in school or on the job. So we have different speakers each time that we meet. Plus, we started out as a one voluntary activity a summer, and a couple of years ago, one of the counselors said, well, why aren't we volunteering more during the year? So we've done two voluntary activities at a nursing home. We have made gifts for campers one year.
Wow.
We're doing this today. Last year in September, our activity was to paint St. Patrick's School here in Springfield. So we've done quite a bit.
Now, as we mentioned before, this is kind of a non-religious sort of organization.
Camp Carolot is a 501(c) not-for-profit, so we are a non-secular. It's open for everybody, religions, races.
How does it make you feel to be involved in the enrichment of these young adults?
I can't express the pride that I have. And I just finished telling them that and holding back my tears. Most of them know that I'm a crier. And to me, to see the fact, number one, that they want to come back, remembering that they were somewhere between 6 and 10 the last time I saw most of them, and contacted them again when they're 16. I also go to the local high schools, the Springfield schools, Jacksonville, Winchester, Taylorville, and Triopia, and look for former campers. And so when I find them and tell them about this program, we have had as many as 65 at an event.
So 18 years with Camp Carolot.
For me, right.
Okay. And then 3 to 4 years working with the leadership program now?
This is the end of the third year.
Third year,
Right,
okay.
Right.
So that's a lot of years to dedicate to the kids, or young adults, as we're saying now.
Right.
So what about the future? What does the future hold for Edie Schultz?
I love my kids. I love my camp. I don't know, I'm substitute teaching, substitute clericing in the schools. I do some other community volunteer activities. We are going to sit down, interestingly enough, because this is a new group of young people today, we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about what the future of the leaders, when they want to meet, what kind of speakers they want, what kind of topics, and what kind of community volunteer activities they'd like to do.
So there's really no end to your involvement, is there? It's not when it's a labor of love, that's
Right.
for certain. Edie, thank you so much for
Thanks,
joining us today, and we will be following you around, so don't think we're stalkers. We're just helping out a little
We're
bit.
happy to have you, and happy to have you personally, knowing that you've been out to the camp. It's
Well,
been
thank you.
wonderful.
Thank you.
So,
It's a pleasure, and like I said, and next year I hope to return to the camp just to see how the kids are doing out there.
And I should let everybody know the new executive director is Carissa Brownback, who is doing an outstanding job moving the camp. This was the second year that she actually was the executive director.
And for people that want to find out more about Camp Caroline?
Contact Carissa Brownback, and it's Post Office Box 9407, Springfield, 62791. You can call me. I don't have her phone number at my, but
okay.
you can always call me, 546-4777.
We'll have it up on the screen in just a moment, so
Okay.
we're good.
And then go to campcarelot.org and also like us on Facebook.
All right. Thanks again, Edie.
Thanks.
Bless you.